We got a Patreon, don't we?
Patreon.com/CU podcast. You go, you look at the menu, and you make a decision. You give us some money. We appreciate that money. And in return, you get the full video podcast. You get bonus bits every that come out once a week. You get writings. You get the hangouts, and you get these poll topics.
And we have a pin club.
Pin club.
And Pat filled in talking about Knight Rider on Saturday.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And second place. This is a 2/3 vote, super majority, just about. Games you cannot believe are on the NES. Oh, that's the wrong one. That one I never did it before in my life. That threw me off. All right, second place is grading and reselling worse for video game clicking, 35%. And then in first place, 65%. Games you cannot believe are on the NES. Clickbait. And we're like, huh? Holding the carts up, which we will hold up. I'll give you the carts, but we can hold them up. That'd be funny. Here's a few. I'll give you a few. And we can hold them up. And I'll give you Taboo the Sixth Sense. You can hold 2 in each hand. And I would be like, there's our clickbait title. And we're like, what are we doing with these games? Clickbait. Hey. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
So, what are games you cannot believe are on the NES?
This is such a silly topic. Honestly,
and I have the assistance of a certain NES guidebook, which I haven't brought up in a while. It's been a while.
So, one of the first ones that popped to my head is Trade West here bringing out Taboo the Sixth Sense, which is not really a game.
It's not a game.
It's not a game.
It's not a game. It's a piece of software.
It's a piece of software that kind of sort of does a tarot card reading.
Yes, that's what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and it also gives you, says it right here, right on the front, your personalized lucky numbers revealed.
Developed by Rare, by the way. It's a Rare title. Trade West is just a publisher.
Yeah.
Genre, other, comma, simulation. I had no idea. I reviewed that one. I had no idea how to put that in a genre. It's definitely a simulation of doing a tarot card reading. But where's the card? Is it the first one?
That's right here.
Well, that's a rental, The Predator. But yeah, it's a weird game. You run through it in like literally a few minutes. You put in your name, you put in your birth date, you do that stuff. I think you put in your sex, and then you get, according to this, the game shuffles a tarot card deck with dizzying graphical effects and chooses a card that signifies the user and 10 cards to represent the answer to the question in 10 positions. You ask a question. That's right.
Yeah.
You answer a question, and you get a readout. And some of the cards are really grisly because they're tarot cards, and there's nudity. There's 8-bit titties on some of the cards, on a couple of the cards, just like a real tarot card.
Yeah, it's one of the only games. I think it's the only game to carry. It has two warnings on it, I believe.
I say this non-game may be entertaining for fans of the metaphysical and tarot, but anyone else may see it as a strange curiosity in the NES library. Adjust the rating based upon your personal enjoyment of occult-based entertainment. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know how you rate it because it's not a game. It's not a game.
It's neat.
It's a simulator for tarot card reading.
Yeah.
I mean, and then on the back of the box, it says, from my writing here, Taboo the Sixth Sense is not intended for children under 14.
Under 14.
So it's like one of the only games that specifically says this is not for kids.
Yeah, and it also says that it makes sure to note that it's intended for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
I remember seeing
Curiosity value, entertainment only. No mystical or magical charms are guaranteed or inferred. It literally says that on the box. What a bizarre... You can't call it game. It's a piece of software.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing you probably would see on a computer back in the late 80s.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just like a little piece of software that they threw together. Your personalized lucky numbers revealed. It's for adults. It's an adult weird-ass game.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. What's next, Ian?
Predator. Now, a Predator game in the modern day and age...
I think I reviewed that one as well.
Makes sense. Video games have grown up and evolved, and the first generations of people to play them have grown and evolved too. And video gaming is now a much more it covers everything. It's a more mature hobby. It still has lots of kid stuff, but video gaming as a hobby has aged up. However, on the original NES. And with the original NES, video games were still mostly the domain of kids. You know, a lot of kids were playing video games. We're talking kids under 12, and to have a Predator game, it sticks out of the library quite a bit.
It came out in '89, so that's 2 years after the movie came out. The movie came out in '87. We were also at a time when like Platoon was getting a license, a lot of R-rated stuff, like Hudson Hawk was getting games.
Yep.
Like they still didn't know, I guess, what the exact audience was.
Yeah, they didn't know what the market demographic.
Yeah, kids are playing Nintendo, but also adults, so that they're doing stuff like that. I gave it 1.5 stars. Not the most abysmal game, but not good, obviously. There's 2 different play modes in Predator, if people aren't aware, and I said that to try to cobble them together. There's more like Contra looking, and they basically stole assets from Contra, what it looks like. The action platform, you almost don't want to call it a run and gun shooter, because a lot of times you're just exploring.
Or punching.
Or throwing a grenade at like fucking
punching scorpions.
And then there's the big mode where it's a totally different engine.
Yeah.
Where you're like, for an NES game, it's super impressive when you look at the graphics.
Yep.
Where you like avoid bubbles and then you have to shoot the predator, and that happens times throughout the game. That happens where you encounter the regular predator, but then you have these big modes where like the screen's condensed because I can't explain. You gotta look at the gameplay online, and that's what's so bizarre about it. It's almost like they didn't know which game to do. That's how it comes across.
Exactly.
So both modes stink.
Yeah,
both are half baked. I said they're half baked.
Neither feels complete or fleshed out in any way.
I said there's some decent ideas, but it comes off very half baked. It appears at times that these were 2 entirely unrelated games that the film license was slapped onto and cobbled together. That's what it feels like. And it's again extremely violent movie that like a kid would not ask for a Predator. I would though, because my father would rent videos and not care how a 7-year-old would be affected by seeing half of Carl Weathers' arm blown off. But that's just me. It didn't really affect me too much, right?
Wally Bear and the No Gang.
Oh,
a bad game that I genuinely enjoy.
Did you review that one?
Probably. I probably did.
You did not review that.
Oh yeah,
one.
I probably didn't because I couldn't have given it a fair review. I like Wally Bear.
I gave it 1.5 stars.
It's not a good game. It's not. It's very difficult. The programming is janky. Everything feels bad. But I like.
By the way, 1.5 means bad, but some merit.
To me, it's fun just trying to get merit.
There's some merit to Wally Bear. There is some merit.
It's not fun as a video game, but it's fun as a challenge, I guess, to me, if that makes any sense.
You can get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. I get enjoyment out of the
theme is goofy.
It's
the frisbee mechanics and seagulls. It's like I said, it's janky, but you can get some enjoyment. The anti-drug messages
is weird. It's very
wallpapers in the house.
The wallpapers in the house could only be chosen by people who are on drugs.
I wrote almost as much in the reflections as the review because I talked about the stuff in the manual and the 1-800-HI-WALLY line that happens.
Oh, I've never even seen the manual for Wally Bear.
The AMA endorsed the game. The American Medical Association, the AMA, endorsed this game. They got the endorsement. The AMA. It's like the association.
Yeah.
That's so funny to me.
That's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. Wally Bear is a unique, weird little thing, and like I said, definitely not good. But
they offered a mail-in subscription to a Wally Bear and the No Gang. Which offered a poster, stickers, and a newsletter. I will put a bounty on, because I've never seen the poster, the stickers, or the newsletter. I'll put a bounty on anyone that has the Wally Bear, because I don't think there's pictures of them online. No. I don't think I've ever seen them. What's next, Ian?
Chiller.
Oh my God, Chiller.
Fucking Chiller.
City arcade game that was infamous.
Just again,
another one I reviewed. I reviewed most of the book. 1 star.
Like Predator to the extreme in terms of why it's weird. This is not a game for children.
Shooting gallery game.
You are literally torturing people in the game.
Yes.
You're not the good guy in Chiller. And the moment I first played Chiller and realized that, I was like, oh. I'm the bad guy.
I'm just torturing people. I'm setting off devices.
Yeah, and shooting off their legs and guillotines and squashing their heads with vices. Like, just
have an alligator eat a head when you lower them into the
an absolute mess of a game. And on top of it, how kind of like mean spirited and gruesome it is. It plays like shit.
Well, that's a whole other issue. So it's one of the only. There's the two non-licensed light gun
Baby
games.
Boomer's the
Baby
other one.
Boomer and Chiller, and I did reviews of both NES Punk videos and wonder why, because they're both goofy as hell. They offer 2-player either via controller and zapper combo, or controllers, or 2 zappers. The problem is the game only registers 1 hit at a time, 1 input from one of the 2 players. When me and Ease play on the marathon, we're like, why can't we shoot him? Because we both we would literally probably take turns, one, 2.
I was literally just thinking that's
one.
how it would have been. Like, you'd have to get a rhythm going, like,
because that's how the zapper works. It does a whole refresh for each hit to see what you reflected off.
Absolutely.
That's basically how it works. And and for some reason it worked the same way with the controllers. Like, you can hit the A buttons with you and it wouldn't work.
Yep.
Goofy,
because it's refreshing.
It has the voice sample at the beginning of the game. It goes it's insane. It's one of the only games we played in the first. As Marathon didn't work because there was it was like a bug when the ROM was bad.
I thought we finally got it going. Didn't I grab one from Luna?
Did you run down and get one?
I think I had a copy. Yeah, I think I went and
went back and got one.
The only game we did not play on the first Marathon was Stunt Kids.
Okay, so what happened with Chillers? We would literally hit the start button and then would freeze, which means it was a bad ROM. It would boot up, but it was literally a bad ROM because this is an unlicensed game from American Game Cartridges Inc. That's a 1 star. 1 star is bad. Like, 1 star is like you can play it, but you don't want to. Once you get below 1 star, which one of these games is definitely below 1 star, we'll talk about. All right, what's on my list? We'll go from the goofiest ones. Bubble Bath Babes. One of the 3 adult games, Panesian, those lovely ladies, which they were also the same ladies on the other 2, Peekaboo Poker and Hot Slots.
They could only pay for those models for 1 shot.
I guess so. Bubble Bath Babes. This is actually the best one because it's a puzzle game that's decent.
Yeah, it's the best.
I gave it an average rating. I gave it 2.5 stars.
What was it called? Mermaids of Atlantis is the original.
This was actually the original.
Oh, okay.
This one actually came out first. This was by Computer and Entertainment, and then so they technically did this version, and then Mermaids of Atlantis. Oh God, where's Mermaids? Mickey's Suicide Mermaids. Mermaids of Atlantis was also Computer Entertainment. They just switched around the graphics to get rid of a nude lady on the bottom. It's a puzzle game. It's a match. Is it match 3?
It's a weird puzzle game.
Match 3 or match 4? Well, I got a review book in front of me. I can tell you what it is.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, you just switch the colors
you get
out.
You get bubbles and you can rotate them and then they float up instead of falling down. And as you connect,
it's a match 4.
Yeah, it's
a match 4.
Yes.
So you don't change. You basically change where the colors are on it. Let's see. Oh, you flip the shape.
Yeah,
as well.
You can flip the shape.
Okay, you flip the shape. Gotcha. You flip the shape, which basically changes the colors.
Did I do the review of that one?
I did Bubble Bath Babes, and I did the other one because they're literally they're virtually the same game, so they get the same review.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said this is the non-nude version of Bubble Bath Babes. So these games are very rare. They're hard to find. They were supposedly only rentals in rental shops. I think there's no evidence they were ever actually sold in actual stores, and that's why you can't find them. They're in clamshell cases. You know, they had little paper manuals, and it's weird that the one guy is beating off on the cover on the left side there, looking at the lady. For some reason, they're drawn out men in togas and fig leaves, but the women are 1980s models, late 80s, early 90s models.
And the further you get in the game, you get little like stills in between.
You get the stills.
Levels that
okay,
show
so it has
a woman
that as well.
stripping. Yeah.
Okay. Next is Sunday Funday, the ride. This one was originally sealed. And I opened it because who cares? Because it's a Wizardry game. So this was originally another game. This is a Wisdom Tree game, which was also Color Dreams. Let me get to it here. This was I always forget if this one came out first or not. I believe this one came out second. This is a action platformer. You're on a skateboard because hey, it's the early 90s. You're going to be on there. This is a quote unquote spiritual Christian game. Why is it that? Because you're trying to get to Sunday school.
Yes.
And you have obstacles in your way. Like you get random people. There's these large women in the game that come after you. And of course you're going to have seagulls in there as well.
It's interesting. Much like Bubble Bath Babes and Mermaids of Atlantis, this was 2 separate games.
Menace Beach.
Menace Beach. Yeah, Menace Beach is the other one. And Menace Beach shows like your girlfriend. It never shows nudity, but it shows her in various states of undress and distress.
So, okay. Menace Beach came out in 90. So it was 5 years old. This was technically the last game released for the NES. That's right. This was the last game released. This came after Wario's Woods, and so they repackaged this one. And the only difference is, like you said, basically, is they got rid of the cutscenes. In Menace Beach, your girlfriend's captured and she's like hung up on a fucking wall. And in between the cutscenes, she loses pieces of clothing, like they're getting pulled off a rod away.
Right.
It's kind of weird to have that in a kid's game.
Yeah.
So obviously they had to do away with that on this version. But what does this version, Ian, put in that Menace Beach doesn't have?
For all karaoke.
Yes. Excuse me. For him.
For him. Sorry.
A Christian group that won the Dove Award-winning group For Him. You get to sing Ride of Life. There's a karaoke version there. And there's also Fishfall, which is a falling fish games that will teach your coordination, will help you test coordination while teaching you Bible verses to help you become fishers of men, like good old Jesus of Nazareth did. So the group's on the back of the box, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they must have been big in the mid '90s, sort of like Christian like community. Brea, California, Wisdom Tree. So these were sold in Christian bookstores. These games, so that's why you never heard of them.
Churches, there was my friend's church that I got dragged to once when I slept over on Saturday night. I remember seeing that, like, after church, you could go down to like the little community room, and there was like a little store shelf that had like Bibles and stuff, and they rented these out.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah.
And then I think I was cheeky. Menace Beach got 1 star. I gave it an extra half star for the mini game and the karaoke.
Yep.
That's what Pat does. See, Pat knows what the value is. I gave it the generous half star for that. I think that's warranted for that. That's one of the all-time favorite NES marathon moments. We ended the first NES marathon by singing that, and that's out there as a moment. And then another weird one. We can go on forever. There's a ton. You want to do an honorable mention, Zine? You like your Tom Sawyer? Is that a little bit weird?
Yeah, Tom Sawyer. Yo Noid is another weird one. I mean,
just because they reskinned it from another game.
You reskinned it from another game, and not only did you reskin it, you reskinned it with a fucking pizza mascot.
And there's the pizza mini games in between that
suck.
It's hard to lose them, though. You kind of have to want to lose them. But
yeah, all you need to do is take a couple seconds to look at the numbers and the cards and be like, okay, I got to play it this way.
It's a weird game. My first I said, this doesn't make any sense. What am I doing? I was eating the higher numbers.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's what you do. And then I guess the weirdest game that we can acknowledge, because it's 52 of them, is Action 52.
Yep.
Made by college kids for no money, hired by a sleazy guy in Florida. This was like a get-rich-quick scheme that happened. Active Enterprises in Florida. This came out in 91. I gave it a half star, which is generous that I gave it a half star.
The true definition of quantity over quality.
This collection of 52 simple and poorly programmed games is more like a set of short demos masquerading as full game experiences. Most of the games are either shooters or platformers, running on one of like 2 or 3 engines usually, and they're all, abysmal.
There's a couple with good ideas in there. Streamers.
Good old cute little streamers that actually remade it almost like a Bionic Commando game, but it's a cute mouse in a party hat. It's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Like the character, I'd want like a plush streamer's little mouse. And then I like the game where you're the bear throwing cookies. I like that one.
It's crazy to me that I don't even remember that, because I used to I had all those games in my head.
I bring up streamers in here. I bring up Fuzz Power. Fuzz Power is you're a troll with big feet. With big hair, and then it's literally their attempt at a Sonic clone.
Yep. Yeah, I recall that.
Which is funny because it came out later that year. Obviously, these games were all made. Each game was made like in like 2 days.
Yeah.
Out of these, or if that, I think they were all made in like half a day. And so you can as a hairy troll, you can do a spin attack, which obviously doesn't work. And then there's blow dryers.
Yes.
That if they hit you, you get rid of your hair, and then you're a naked troll, which is kind of cute.
Yep.
Like I said, there's some clever ideas. These are like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. The highlight is probably, if you want to say the highlight, the music is pretty good for what it is, because that's obviously separate.
Well, I love the intro. The intro starts off with "It Takes Two" by Rob Bass.
Yes, and they just rip it. They just rip the sample. Then it says, "Make your selection now." And then, of course, the last game was the Cheetah Men game.
Yep.
Game Masters starring the Cheetah Men, whatever they say. And that's actually a really good song in the game. The game is obviously... Like this is what they were, the whole tent pole of release. Not on the cover, which is weird, but they obviously push it on the back, is the fact that there was a Ninja Turtles ripoff with 3 Cheetah Men characters, and they tried to do a sequel that was produced but never released and was found in the fucking factory laying there, carts and boxes that Mike Etler discovered and put them out. There's 1,000 of them.
My favorite thing about the Action 52 cartridge,
it's ridiculous,
is
the story.
the manual that it comes with, the comic.
Yes.
The comic, and on the back there are hand-drawn pictures of action figures, and they're like, coming soon to a toy store near you.
Never.
And they even like draw in the joints and shit. It's insane.
Yeah, you can go on. There's a commercial on YouTube. So like they actually made a commercial to advertise this piece of shit, if you can believe that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Here's the comic book. Don't damage it, Pat. This is actually worth a lot of money. Here's the comic book, Ian.
Yeah, there it is.
Collect them all. You get Dr. Morbius and the 3 Chinamen. No, this will never be made. They try to push these probably at like electronic shows like CES.
Probably a bigger chance of them getting made now than there was then.
And then the same company try to pretend they were going to do like an all-in-one game system that could play multiple consoles, and it was just like a guy throwing shit against the wall. I don't think they ever found the guy that tried to do this. I don't think they ever found him. Like actually, I caught up with him. You know, probably living in some island somewhere. You know, just like an '80s villain with bikini babes from Bubble Bath Babes all around. So those are some of the weird ones. There's other weird ones. We're talking about 800 games on the library. There's a lot of weird games out there. You know, there's games on the system, even licensed. Like half of these were unlicensed, half of these were licensed. But there's some weird ones out there that, looking at it, you're like, why? Like, why did they think there was an audience for a game like that? Like, why did they think that kids or parents would want to buy that? I mean, Taboo's not the hardest game to find, so some people bought it.
Right.
You know, it's what is that? It's uncommon.
I'm gonna guess it probably was like they probably discounted it at some point to $19.99 at Toys R Us, and people picked it up on a lark.
So I have that as uncommon. It's probably uncommon. That's like
I think it's uncommon.
Yeah, you can. It's not hard to find, but it's
not impossible.
Not what I was going to have that. Meanwhile, in Action 52, that's this is rare. You're not going to find it. I have it as common. Maybe that was a borderline one. Maybe that was one that was like right on the border. Okay, all right. May readjust that for a 4th print run if I ever have that. Okay, like change them. I've tinkered with some of those a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
as I went through. That could have been a borderline one. All right. Well, thanks for the clickbait. We did the clickbait title thumbnail on that.